Greetings and welcome, everyone. It's All You Can Geek Moviecast, episode 421. I'm one of your hosts, Jim Gast, joined by Mike Sneedy.
What's up?
Corey Feinsod.
Excelsior.
And Tony Korkanakis.
Welcome, true believers.
With great power comes great responsibility. So we have...
most important news.
The most important news for the week, just leading it off, actually. Forget the box office for now. Most important news of the week, sad news, is the passing of Stan Lee, in Marvel's basic creator of Marvel, essentially. With there's a bunch of other people, Jack Kirby and stuff, but I mean, he's iconic, the character. I mean, to the point where, everybody was posting about his passing yesterday. So really, really sad. I mean, 95 years old. Great life. Yeah. So doing conventions up to a few months ago, signing autographs. So
it's crazy.
But yeah, it's sad. I've talked about this I think I've even mentioned on the podcast how sad of a day it will be, because it's coming. It's coming, and you're just like, oh. When my brother, I actually missed you guys post it because I was so busy yesterday, and then my brother texted me. I'm like, oh shit, and then I'm like, is this a hoax? Please be a hoax. Please be a hoax. And I'm like, no, that's not a hoax. It's been it's a sad day. I mean, it's also a day of, the guy had such an amazing life and career and stuff, and touched, millions upon millions of people,
if not
billions, if not billions, with his story.
70 years or whatever.
With his stories. So it's like you have that. You have to celebrate it too. He had a great life. He really did, and I think that's another way to look at it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
He was a World War II vet too. He served in World War II. The U.S. Army posted a thank you to him on their Facebook page for his passing, the Army. So that's pretty impressive.
The way you just worded that was kind of weird. Thank you for his passing.
Oh, sorry. Did I word it that way? I'm sorry. I meant thank you for him for his from his passing. Yeah. So
it's kind of funny actually, because not funny, but interesting is that in the Army he served as an official playwright actually.
Yeah, really. He was always writing. He was working. What was the company pre-Marvel? I was trying to look that up. I forgot to just a minute ago. What was the Stan Lee's previous? It was the same company. They just turned into Marvel, didn't they?
Yeah, I don't remember.
I don't know that much about that.
Okay, he was working for them and then left and joined the Army and then came right back. And then basically Marvel was his thing. Creation of such great heroes. We're going to do our top 5 cameos for Stan Lee tonight during the show. So I hope you all enjoyed that. I will tell you, during our game cast, we thought you can't really do Stan Lee cameos in that, but we will talk about Stan Lee in that episode. And we'll also do our top 5 Marvel games in that episode. So if you want to continue the Stan Lee bonanza that we're going to have for him, his memorial for us, it's going to be a lot of Stan Lee tonight, I think. So I just I can't even it's just the Spider-Man game. I know we're in the movie cast here, but the Spider-Man game, I'll mention it on that too. Just the recent game that we played with his cameo in there. And it's just I always liked you two the best comment from him. It choked you up because that it was I think Tony, you and I were talking about that, where you're just he's not long, and you're like, God, that's so sad. And then that's all I thought about. I was like, you gotta be it's just sad. It's sad.
Mm-hmm.
So all right, let's go box office.
Just the last thing I want to say is just thank you, Stan Lee, for everything you've done.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
Absolutely.
I think we should do a moment of silence at least.
Sure. Let's do that.
In the past.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We should definitely do that. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, that's okay.
Moment of silence then. Okay. Thank you, Stan Lee, for all of the stories you've given us and characters and even just inspirational words.
That's the thing that I would say is most profounding impact for me, because I've always liked cartoons and stuff like that, but I remember back being a kid and seeing stuff like X-Men and Spider-Man and Batman. As a kid, you don't really know those are all different things necessarily in companies, at least. But I remember one of my first memories of Stan Lee, I think my first memory of Stan Lee was I got when the X-Men cartoon was debuting, Pizza Hut had this special where like you could, with the purchase of a pizza, you could, pay whatever dollars and get a VHS tape that contained like the first X amount of episodes, and they had 2 tapes. And I remember getting the packaging was nice, it was like black and like gold or black and silver, stuff like that. And I remember like before and after the cartoon, like it was Stan Lee talking. I was like, who's this old guy? And he's like, it's like, I'm the creator. I'm like, oh wow, that's awesome. And just talking about it, and go on as I grow older, he's created all these characters. And what to me was really fascinating was just how every time he created these characters, they had like a message about it. So like X-Men was about just racism to a degree, and just being out of place in a world that hated you. The Hulk was obviously about like anger and self-punishment,
rage of emotions, and
emotion. Iron Man dealt with just all those demons in his later years, alcoholism and stuff like that. But like every time he had characters, there was a message behind it. And past that, I mean, he was one of the first people that was very influential in getting like minority characters, like I mentioned Luke Cage and stuff like that. So it's just he's been fighting for people that haven't had a voice prior to that, and we take that for granted these days. But
I mean, especially from that time period, to have that passion. I mean, like he's one of the pioneers essentially from that. I mean, it's like to have for not being a minority himself, I mean, like he's to have that passion to help as well. I mean, that's from that time period. It wasn't very common. So it's like, I mean, especially he spanned from like he went the Great Depression through the World War II. I mean, he went through all of this, through women's rights. I mean, he did through all of that. He experienced all of that, and he he gave us these stories and these heroes to embody what we kind of what society's doing, but what we should be reaching towards.
The goal, the aspiration.
The aspiration. So it's. I mean, Mike, you haven't, Mike?
Yeah.
I mean, you read probably more comics than maybe not Corey, but I mean, you guys read some DC stuff, but you probably read more of his stories.
I mean, I don't know, not directly.
No, I mean, you read more newer stuff, right?
But he's obviously like he's co-creator of basically. For me, he's a Spider-Man guy. He's always been a Spider-Man guy to me. I know he co-created a lot of other characters, but that's the biggest one he did. And I remember maybe one of the first times I remember hearing him is his voice. He has an iconic voice, and he kept his voice too. Also, throughout old age too, which was impressive.
That was the thing.
He never really wavered, and he always had enthusiasm. But his voice in the original not original either. The cartoon in the 90s. That's when the first time I came across him, and that's kind of where I remember him. He did some voiceover stuff there, and for the first time. And I mean, I just know, like if there was a big part of Marvel in the 60s sort of renaissance that they had, like he was all in it and created all the characters. So even though I started reading comics in earnest in the 90s, maybe, I mean, his fingerprints were all over those characters.
That's the thing. It's like every comic book writer, artist, like creator today has been influenced by Stan Lee in some point, or at some point in some way. That's what we're saying. Like his reach as far as influence goes is unimaginable. You can't quantify it really.
I mean, that's the thing. Go on.
I was just gonna say one of the things that really stuck out to me on Twitter was I forget some guy that's a celebrity now, but he was saying that back when he was still small time or whatever like that, he was at some studio doing whatever, and it was basically just him that he thought was in the building, but Stan Lee was there too, and Stan Lee was getting ready to go, and the guy was like, "Man, this might be my only chance to ever have a conversation with Stan Lee one-on-one." So he interrupted and said like, "Oh, I'm a real big fan of yours, this thing." And Stan Lee, like, even though he's probably important as hell, as a place to go, people to see and stuff like that, he took the time to just have an earnest 5, 10, 15-minute conversation with him. And he said, and then ever since then we were friends, and I've only seen him do that same thing for other people. And for him, it's probably like the thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of interactions like this as he had, because he's just, you know, like we said, an iconic person, but he never let that make him feel like more important. He always felt like, you know, this might be, you know, the umpteenth time I'm having this conversation for that person might just be that one.
That's what I'm saying.
And it's so, you know,
I think, and that's what I was going to mention with what I was saying back to his iconic voice is when you heard him talk, when you heard him speak, like when he talked, it was like, I never, and I don't want to knock any other like comic book creator. I don't want to knock, you know, that, but I never have heard anybody speak so passionately about just everything in terms of his like superheroes, his characters, what they represent, just talking to people, like you said. I mean, his voice, yes, it's iconic, but also his passion, the way he puts his words out to you, like as you hear him speak, it's that that intent, I guess, is like, I have not heard that from people. Like I've never heard somebody speak that excited every time they talk about their creations.
Yeah, and you know, that's the thing is another thing I love about it is this. Anytime he talked about something, whether it was a comic character or a movie, or you know, even you know, as he grew older and he wasn't like so deep in it, you know, like he would always talk about something that like just made it seem like, yeah, wow, like I can't wait for this thing. Like even though you know you might have like the full fingerprint on it, but like you know, at least he has one finger on it.
Well, that's why he made. I mean,
so awesome.
One of his last cameos, I think, is in the DC's Teen Titans Go to the movies, right? Did he make a cameo in that? I mean, in a DC movie, because he's so passionate about just superheroes in general, and he said that too.
Yeah, he'll be in a few more too.
Oh yeah, he will be. Yeah, but yeah. So I mean, we could do this. Let's do this out of order. Let's just get to our top five. Keep this with the Stanley train here. Moving here. Let's go into our top five topic right now. So our top five Stanley cameos. Geez, is what we're gonna get into here, and I just want to kick it off with his. Well, I mean, for me, I have two Spider-Man movies on here on this list. He, you know, Spider-Man for me is one of his greatest characters. It's one of my favorite heroes. It's just so. I immediately thought back to his cameos in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man most, because it was really well, it wasn't his first time on screen. That was the one that I think I enjoyed the most, where he was actually playing he almost got to play his own hero, because he saves a little girl as a building's going to fall on her. And that was like it's a quick cameo, but it's like something that for me, it made it number 5 on my list. I put these in order, Mike. So I don't know if everybody else did, but I put these in order. So for me, like, I thought that would be something for him to play a hero in his, you know, his creations, you know, Spider-Man movie, I think was, for me, that was like a first memorable moment. So.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, if that was number 5, Tony, what's your number 5?
I didn't really have an order or anything like that, so I'll just listen. But in, like you said, like the Sam Raimi original Spider-Man one, that was just, you know, awesome. Like, you know, he's like, "Hey, kid, would you like a pair of glasses?" Just like that's really cool. Like, and that to me was like one of those things where it's like, you know, they were kind of taking it like seriously, like after, you know, the X-Men movie had launched and you have the Spider-Man. Right. It's like, this is cool. You know, it's like it's got his signature on it.
Yes, that's what I mean. Like, it was definitely him in there with that. And, you know, I mean, we'll do these then no order, guys. So just give me another one. Give me another one. Okay. You the Spider-Man stuff? Yeah. I mean, Mike, did you have any of the Spider-Man movies on there?
Yeah, the first one, just because it was, again, I sort of identify him with Spider-Man, and it's like, oh, Stan Lee is there again. And you see him there, and it's like
one of the first ones you can remember too.
Yeah.
Like,
and what I like about those old ones, I have another one.
I actually have Spider-Man 3 on this list, but
what I like about those is back then it was almost like a little bit more like you have to know, like, to find them there. It wasn't just like a known thing. It's just like, oh, that's like, I know who Stan Lee is. I don't know if everyone who's watching this does. So it's like, that's good. It's like, I found him.
Yeah.
That was what I enjoyed about the early Stan Lee cameos a little bit, that we lost a little later when it became like, you know, the main thing. But no, I enjoyed seeing him in Spider-Man just because, you know, I identify him with Spider-Man, and that was the first time he was there with Spider-Man.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, like I said, the other one, I had Spider-Man 3 on this list as well, where he actually makes a statement to Peter. I think, you know, one person can make a difference. He makes that statement. I think that was an awesome part for him in a cameo, to have that. And I think that was like the first line that I can remember that he spoke, with the exception of like "look out" or something like that. But I was trying to think back. I couldn't remember
Yeah, that was probably my favorite one because that one, like,
cameo wise.
Yeah, because that one, like it ranged, and a lot of them are just like kind of goofy, like like haha, like I'm really Stanley, and y'all know it. Like that one where it's just like it's kind of had like a subtle message where it's like one person can make a difference. And
yes. Oh, so that made your list too. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
good. I mean, our list. Look at this. We're following the same list. I wonder if we have the same one. Let's see. What else would you put on there, Corey? What was another one you put out?
I like the Thor one where he's trying to pull the hammer out.
Oh yeah, that was good.
That was funny. It's a funny one. That would have been like my number 5. But I just thought it was kind of funny. Like everybody's trying to pull hammer, and he's like, "All right, I'm gonna drive this thing." It's like it's fun to see him there. So I thought that was a good one.
Mike, another one from you?
Well, I'll go back to the first one, the first feature one, which was the first X-Men.
Yeah, the first X-Men's on mine as well.
Hot dog cart.
Yeah, he's there with Senator Kelly, who's about to melt on the.
Yep.
And
that's on my list as well because it's his first real appearance.
one, and again, like it kind of kicks off this whole superhero movie craze. That movie with him in it, and he's in most of these movies ever since then. And it was, again, it's sort of like you have to know who he is back then to like see and understand him that he's there. But I thought it was very cool, and that was like really. I mean, apparently he was in a made-for-TV Hulk in 1989 movie before this, but this is.
There's a movie that he was in that. This is my number 1.
My number 1 is another movie he was in earlier as well, Corey. I did put him in order.
Kevin Smith movie.
It's Kevin Smith movie. Yes.
Yeah, was really good.
So.
Well, there you go. We got the same number 1.
Yeah, we have the same number 1.
Okay.
We can put them in order. Yeah. So go on. So yeah.
But yeah, no. I mean, X-Men is probably my favorite Marvel property. So. Like it was cool to see him there too. I don't really know his history as well with the X-Men. I'm sure was well involved with that as well, though. But it was cool to just I mean,
the thing you have to remember from him is he's like the storyteller. He was always the storyteller. He wasn't the artist, but he was the guy that came back with these origin stories and who these characters were and what made them heroes, and what made their flaws were like their biggest parts from him. And I think that's no offense to DC heroes. There's no offense. I'm not trying to knock any DC hero, but I mean, like, I think that's what made for me was the Marvel heroes were always more, in my mind, bigger because they had these flaws that, they weren't just invincible.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we talked about it before, and I think the DC characters, a lot of them, the classic Superman, Batman, they spawn from mostly just like, hey, here's a character with powers, and then we build the world around them. Where as with the Marvel, typically the Marvel stuff, it's like, hey, there's this character, he has powers, he or she may have powers, but like they still have problems. They got stuff.
Well, that was the thing.
Can't pay the rent.
They are characters first, and then they just so happen to have powers.
Right. When you look at like Spider-Man or the X-Men and stuff like that, it's like these are real people with real problems, and superpowers might help sometimes, but it's not.
And that's why I think Batman is just so popular, is because he was a character that DC had that was a character first.
That has the human flaws that we see.
Yeah, I mean, just one sentence of DC defense is basically I view them as sort of like they're extraordinary with or without their powers, just like their personality that like they stick to what they are so much.
They're Boy Scouts.
Yeah, well, like between Superman and Batman, they have their sort of codes of honor and like determination. It's different. And meanwhile, in Marvel, they're much more malleable, I think, and they can do more things differently.
Not trying to get this Marvel versus DC here.
Right. So that's what they build their brands on. That's all.
Another one I had put on this list was actually more recent. It was a Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 cameo because I thought
that was really good.
Yeah, him as the astronaut with the Watchers. I just thought that was great.
Yeah. Where you guys going?
I think that was great to see him in a longer sequence too. And I think he was also was he in post credits as well, or in that one was in twice?
Yeah, it was in twice.
Yeah, okay.
Like it was like one where they're teleporting, and then at the end when it was like the montage ending.
Yeah. So
one of mine was actually, this is more on the funny side, but the Deadpool cameo where he's like the DJ for the strip. It's like, and now chastity. You're just like, wow, Stan Lee, like, you go.
Those two are on my list as well. The Guardians one, because it's like, oh, that kind of almost makes a little sense with him hanging out with the Watchers. And then the other one, because it makes the least amount of sense, because it's just like it's the last place you might think Stan Lee would be at that point after his other type of heroic cameos and stuff. It's like now he's a strip club MC. Pretty interesting. So yeah, that's why I liked both of those for very different reasons. Even though they were both kind of fun in their own way.
Yeah.
Another fun one for me that's on my list is the Amazing Spider-Man cameo. That's the one with him and like Spider-Man and Lizard fighting, and then Stan Lee's got the headphones on, and he's just like oblivious to the whole thing that's going on behind him, and then he's just cleaning, doing his thing. I thought that was a good cameo for him, and he got a lot of screen time on that one too.
Oh yeah, definitely, that was good. Another one of mine was actually towards the end of Civil War, where you got that serious moment between Tony Stark and Brody, and just with him being crippled and stuff like that, and trying to get him back on his feet, literally and figuratively. So and it's like one? Stanley, and it's FedEx. He's like, I got a package for Tony Stank, and it's like, thank you for that. I'm gonna use that for a long time. It's like Tony Stank.
That was good. My number one was the Mallrats cameo he does in that movie, because he does he has a pretty long conversation and kind of talks about how some of it has those lessons in his monologue a little bit as well, and kind of giving Jason Lee, I think is his name, Jason Lee's character some motivation and things like that, and getting him back on the right path. So I thought that was a great cameo. It's still my favorite cameo of his. To see him, and especially he's just like out of nowhere. It's like a 1990s movie.
Yeah, I could see that.
No, Jim's got something to say about it as well, I'm sure. We just talked about Mallrats, Jim.
Oh, did you? Okay. Yeah, that was my number one on my list because I did list them in order, and his appearance as himself, talking about his hero creations, was what that made an iconic moment for me, for him in the movies.
Right. It's funny too because he is talking about how when I did this, and then Jason Lee's kind of like, what do you know?
We didn't really think about this stuff when I was creating them. Like, Mr. Fantastic, tell me, can he stretch everything? And we didn't really consider this when we were younger. We were building these things, but
again, he's trying to give him a message, and Jason Lee's more trying to find out his details about stuff.
Yeah. So what was it? Do we have any more?
The only other ones I have, and if we need to stick to movies, I would say Thor 3 when he was the barber with the weird thing who actually cut his hair. I thought that was kind of cool. But I would actually include, if we could step out, because I would include the one from the latest Spider-Man game, just because, like you said before, there was sort of a air of finality to it.
Yeah, that's what I got from it. Even more so, obviously now, but
and also it was just you were always my favorites, like Spider-Man and Mary Jane. And that could mean a lot of things. It could mean he always thought that those two should be together, or but I also kind of feel to me at least, he identifies most with Spider-Man, or I identified him most with Spider-Man. I don't know if that's true, but that's how I feel. So that's why I feel like that cameo a bit.
Yeah. So
one other one I thought was pretty. One of the one I thought was pretty good was the Big Hero 6 one.
Which, I forgot about that one. Yeah.
It's kind of funny.
Yeah, he had it's like I was looking at for games because we were originally going to do a top 5 game list when we started doing this. For those wondering, and when I see him being played in Spider-Man, I guess you could play as him as a character.
Yeah, one of the older ones. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the Lego Marvel games that came out, you can play as him in those. I didn't play those games, so it was tough for me to. I wouldn't be able to put it down there, but I thought that's a lot of fun to be able to play as the creator there. And, you see him go from narrator in the early 2000 games for Spider-Man to being in the games as a playable character. It's pretty awesome. So, but even then, even as a narrator in those, when he's describing the characters in the game, he would go voice over who the Lizard is and tell you, and he would talk it's like he's telling you the story when he talked about those characters. And that's just the thing for me that always sticks out in my head about Stan Lee.
He's the voice pretty much of the little yellow boxes that explain what's going on in comic books.
Yeah. So, all right, we're good with that, right?
Yeah.
Box office, Grinch opened big, 67.7 million. Number one in the box office this week. The number one opening Christmas movie of all time, I think.
Really?
I think that was the stat. Yeah, I think that was the stat I saw.
See that? Yeah.
Yeah, number one opening Christmas movie. So yeah, 67.7 million. Bohemian Rhapsody at number 2 at 31.3. Overlord at 3, very close, 3 and 4. Behind the the Nutcracker was there in 4, both at 10 million, 10.3, 10.2, and A Star Is Born at 5. So that's your box office. I still want to go see The Grinch. Opening this week is Fantastic Beasts. That's going to be kind of a big game. I think that's going to be a big movie. We'll see, but I haven't seen the first one still, which is crazy for me as a Harry Potter fan. But I haven't seen the first one.
Seen the first one.
Have you?
Yeah,
Really?
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah. I made fun of you for it. I was like,
oh, that's right.
The bigger Harry Potter.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. So, wow. So that's it for your box office. Let's get just into some news here, and then what we've been up to, and put a bow on this episode. So, I'm trying to find out what the. Oh, okay. So let's start off with some talking about these trailers. We got to talk about these trailers. So we had the Toy Story 4 trailer launched.
Teaser.
And,
if there's a teaser, this is a teaser.
There's two teasers.
Oh, were there two? I only saw one.
They released the second one today, and I feel it's because another movie kind of.
Okay, so that's the theme. It looks great. It looks great. I mean, obviously we don't know much yet, but it was. I mean, that's the best thing I can say. Anything you want to add about that, or?
I mean, I'm gonna go see it.
I mean, I'm gonna see it, but the thing is, like, I know I'm already gonna see it, and I don't think like the teaser really did anything for it because it's like. No. And the other thing is, like, I feel like Toy Story 3 wrapped it up really well, so I'm like kind of hesitant on like where it's gonna go. So, like, I'm like,
I don't know if I want to do this to myself, honestly.
I
just like everything I hear of it from this. First of all, Toy Story 3 like destroyed me anyway, and this is gonna be worse. It sounds like so. I'm not sure I even want to watch this movie.
All I know is, I don't know. I don't know why they're making a fourth one of this. I thought the 3 was the end of it, finality to it, but I guess they're making a 4 because
money.
Yeah, I know. The more important trailer that launched that I was surprised I enjoyed as much as I did today was the Pikachu movie, the Detective Pikachu. So
I don't even know what to say. Speechless.
Yeah, I just I couldn't I'm watching the trailer. I'm like, you know what? I went onto YouTube to watch the Toy Story teasers. What happened today? And I'm like, the first thing that came up my feed was the Pikachu thing, and I'm like, okay, all right, I'm gonna check this out because I haven't heard anything yet about it from anybody. I'm like, let me just watch this. So I watched it, and I'm like, this kind of looks kind of fun, and I'm like, this feels weird to say this, and I said that on Discord. I'm like, it feels so weird to say this, but it looks fun. Yeah. I don't know. It's the best thing. Did you guys watch it? I mean, Tony, you watched it, right?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it looks great. I mean, it looks really good.
I think it looks great. My initial thing was like just the reaction to like seeing realistic Pokemon. Because like you've seen artists do it over the years, and actually one of the most famous artists for doing realistic Pokemon is working on this.
Okay.
Movie
I mean, it's really well done. It's really
it's really well done. But just like at first you're just like, oh, this is weird because like you're used to the anime characters for close to like 25 years or something like that now, and just like, oh, okay, that's kind of freaky. But like the more you like get used to it, and I think a comfort sets in. Like, okay, this is. Yeah, it's not so bad. But I mean, Ryan Reynolds, like, he does the Deadpool voice coming out of Pikachu. And I'm just like, it's so weird. Not in a bad way, but it's so weird. And then it goes directly into, like, him saying Pika Pika, like in the traditional Pikachu voice, and then back to Ryan Reynolds. And I'm just like, man, I just expect Pikachu to drop the F-bomb.
Yeah.
It's like...
I mean, just the Pika Pika, that sequence is just like, this is actually pretty fun.
One person I can understand. Like I was like, oh, if everybody can understand them, that would be just really dumb. But like having the one person and it being a surprise, Pikachu, it's like, oh.
I think that's the aspect of it that can make it fun because you hear like what Pikachu's actually saying, and everybody here always hears Pika Pika, and you're like, and he's like, he could be trash talking, and you have no idea because it sounds so cute. And I think that's what makes this idea so much fun. So, Ryan Reynolds as a voice, interesting call. I don't know if that works more or less, but the idea of it works definitely.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. And I'm gonna go out here and make a wild prediction that this is gonna be. Okay. So two predictions. Number one, this is definitely gonna be the most successful video game movie of all.
Financially,
so. Financially, yes, yeah.
But second, I actually think this has the potential to do $1 billion worldwide.
Oh, I think it could.
Is there a bet in there?
Pokemon. It's Pokemon. I don't disagree with him though. Anybody disagree with him? I think it could. It's a video game movie, which is insane. But
it can, Jim. That's not the question. It definitely can. The question is it going to? Will it?
But I would agree with him. So
yeah, I would agree too. It can.
No. He's saying
Pikachu. No, he's saying it can. He's not saying it will.
Okay.
He's not going to put his foot down.
Right,
I want to stew over it a little bit longer, but potentially I could bet on that. Yeah.
No, I think obviously the Pokemon IP is huge. I mean, we all saw what happened with Go and everything, and just venturing out in different genres as far as what this IP can do. And this movie doesn't look like it's going to be a failure. So
no, the thing is domestically, I know it's going to do very well. I just don't know how internationally it's going to do. That's where I can't predict, and that's where. I think
he'll do better internationally.
I feel like the opposite is true.
No, I think this is why I'd be willing to bet. I'd be willing to say it will. So
well, I'll bet you then, Jim. I say it doesn't hit $1 billion.
We're on. I'll write it down. I'll write this down. I'm doing it. Hey, listen, I'll throw bets out. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid.
What's the bet right now?
I don't know what the bet is.
The bet is Detective Pikachu will do $1 billion worldwide. And
who's saying it will and who's saying it won't?
Right, Jim?
I say it will. Corey say it will.
I say it will.
Wait, Corey, say it won't or will?
It won't. It won't.
Okay. Yeah. I need to sit on it a little long.
Nope.
I absolutely agree that it can. It's just $1 billion. $1 billion. It's not chump change.
Nope.
Guys.
No, it's not. But it gets
to 900 million. That's hugely successful. I mean, we're talking about
I didn't believe in Pokemon Go, and I'm not going to be. Yeah, I'm not going to follow that same path again.
Pokemon Go is the reason, eh?
Yep. That's it. So, all right. Let's see what else we have in news. Cassian Andor live action series announced for the Disney streaming service. We have a couple of things announced we didn't put on here. Loki's live action show. They have obviously a Loki show coming out with Tom Hiddleston starring.
Yep. And rumored to have Jamie Alexander as well.
No, really? Interesting. Yeah. So Disney is lining this service up to be just a no-brainer to subscribe, in my opinion.
Disney Plus.
Yeah, I don't see.
That's what's I don't think we ever said the name of it before.
I know, Disney Plus. You're right. I don't see what the negatives would be to doing it, because it's the only thing I'm wondering is, are they going to have their old backlog of old Disney stuff? You know what I mean? The goofy.
The vault and release every now and then, like they always do.
I'm talking about the goofy fun sports stuff you used to do, how to play football or how to set up a TV stand or something like that. They used to do the goofy instructional videos.
I want to see Goof Troop again.
Oh yeah, Goof Troop on there. They got Tailspin.
All those Darkwing Duck, Gargoyles.
Gargoyles. Oh, that's right.
Ooh,
yeah. Xanatos, my man. Yes. All right. What else we have? It'd be interesting what that service is going to do. Let's see. We have Venom doing well at the box office. Obviously, it beat Justice League
worldwide. Yeah.
Worldwide.
It opened bigger in China than it did here, right? Venom?
Yeah.
No. It did well in China, but it's still way ahead.
It's at 673 million.
The opening weekend was bigger, though, wasn't it? Which doesn't
might have been bigger opening weekend.
Opening weekend might have been, yeah.
I think I read it was 100 million opening weekend.
Yeah.
So that's pretty crazy because that doesn't happen too often.
Yeah, domestically, Venom is losing to Justice League, but it's pretty close, 229 to 206. And then internationally, you're right. Internationally, it's done way better. So.
Yep.
Haven't seen it still.
I put this news on here earlier, George R. R. Martin news. I don't really care to talk about it. He just doesn't want to. He's got writer's block. For those wondering,
surprise!
Yeah, he's self-admitted. He's having a hard time writing this Winds of Winter book. So
too much pressure, man. He can't handle it.
No. And then Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is more popular than any Marvel Netflix show. The ratings of it are out. That is the facts.
But we don't have ratings for Netflix shows.
That is the facts. No facts whatsoever.
We don't need facts. We just need to know their made-up stats. And made-up stats show me that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is more popular.
It's a great show.
It is. But if you go by the
long way off, too.
By viewership, by the leaked numbers that we saw, we talked about last week, then Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has more viewership and much more sought after audience than the Netflix shows. So that's the stat we got, Mike. I'm sorry.
That's great, but I mean, we're talking about we're talking about a streaming service and one of the leading networks. It's
two got canceled, one's still working.
Yeah, I don't think it's a accurate comparison. And we don't have the official numbers yet either, from Netflix. Whatever. I don't know why we're even talking about it.
I don't think it's worth
him stirring the pot.
There's a pot stirring. All right. Let's get into what we've been up to.
You know what? It's funny when you mentioned that because about what I've been up to. I'm out of the Marvel Netflix shows to watch since I've finished Daredevil. So I watched the 4th episode of last season's of Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh, good.
And it was
season. It's a good season.
I mean, you guys said like the next episode is when things happen, and maybe at the very end. But they're still sort of slogging along in this little "we're trapped here" thing. So
no, there's some good stuff that happens right after
it should change, I guess. But I don't know. It's almost like it's the same actors are like cosplaying as different characters each chunk of the seasons. I don't particularly like that. I feel like what's the point? Like it's just like a series of plays, and they're like the different characters each time they change their setting. I don't know.
Yeah. All right.
Hopefully, it gets more interesting, like you guys said it will.
Yeah. Anything else, Mike? You've been watching? Or?
I haven't been watching much.
Tony.
I actually saw The Grinch over the weekend.
Oh, how was it? I want to go see it.
It's cute. It's cute.
Okay.
Definitely
not like
for kids.
Is it really? I mean, Jim Carrey's thing is for kids, but that was fun, I think, for a lot of people. I enjoyed that one.
Yeah, I mean, it's worth the animation is pretty decent, and the guy who does the voice of the Grinch does some really good delivery, and there's some stuff with that. But I don't know. It's always weird because I'm just so used to the classic animated Grinch, like the hand-drawn Grinch.
Yeah.
But even the Jim Carrey one, I was just yeah. I mean, not that it's bad, but it's just it's just jarring. You're just like, this is the original. This is something else. So I can't get past that. I mean,
plus, it's much shorter too. Like they're throwing all this extra stuff in.
Keep talking. I'll be right back.
Yeah, it was the original one is like pretty much a half-hour special or something.
Right, exactly.
But I don't know. To me, I feel like the Jim Carrey one sort of modernized it and gave you a different version of it. And that was 12, 15 years ago at the most. I don't know why we have this because the other one was there's a 40, 50-year gap between the other versions. So
we have this because they know it's going to make money.
Yeah, but I don't know. The whole idea seemed a little unnecessary to me. I will not be seeing this movie.
I'll see it at some point. I know. I just don't think it'll be in the theater.
Yeah, I don't if you're asking me if it's worth going to pay in the theater, no, probably not. But I mean, if it's eventually when it comes to a streaming service.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, I might even do a rental thing on there.
Yeah. There are some cool little things where I'm just like, that's really funny actually. Where it's just I personally find it funny. It's my type of humor. I don't know if the rest of the audience is haha stuff, but there's this part where I don't know, not spoiler anything, the what's her name, Little Sue Who or whatever like that. Mm-hmm. She takes a more proactive role in this one where it's she's not just MacGuffin or whatever like that. At some point, she needs help from other of her school friends or class, whatever kid friends. So she sends them out or sends a page out, and the one they all show up on trikes and stuff like that or whatever, like a motorcycle gang, and the one guy's like, "You called, we came," and I'm just what? You guys mobsters? Is this how it is? You called, we came. And it's why should we help you? And stuff like that. I'm just
this is a studio that's going to be doing the Mario movie too.
Yeah. I mean, so that's interesting. We could talk about while Jim's away, but as far as the quality of the product, I'm a little skeptical about that. But in terms of they have definitely refined their animation. It looks awesome. And apparently they are very good at sticking to their budget, and most importantly for the companies involved, being profitable. Minions,
all their movies, even though they've not necessarily been good, they've all made a lot of money.
Yeah, but I mean, right? Was it Despicable Me 3 or Minions that did $1 billion, or was it both of them?
Probably the Minions movie. If it was going to be one, I don't think Despicable Me 3 did as well as. I could be wrong, but
I'm looking it up. Fact checking.
No idea.
$1.035 billion.
For
Despicable Me 3.
Oh Jesus! If that can make $1 billion, I'm screwed. Pokemon's making $1 billion.
Yeah. Minions did $1.159 billion.
Man.
All right.
Yeah. So I mean, they. I don't think it's for like the wide audience. It's not like a Pixar type thing, but I mean, it's for the kids. And as I said before, you get the kids, you kind of always get the parents, or at least somebody's parents, or guardians.
Yeah, somebody's got to bring these.
Right, exactly. Somebody's got to fucking watch over them. So yeah, it'll be interesting.
Cool.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I didn't see Disney doing or Pixar doing the Mario movie or whatever, but if it's going to be a studio, like an animation studio, I feel like this is a good one to pick.
Yeah.
They've put out quality products before.
Yeah. And who knows? Because Nintendo's involved, maybe they can turn them more the, I don't know, story writing aspect or
right. Yeah. So,
apologies, sorry about that, everybody.
No worries.
So, anyways, did everybody get through what they were up to? Because I didn't really have much to talk about for that. I watched not really anything really. So, did I watch anything? Not really.
Okay.
So, I mean, there's really not to add to it because I'm like, I watched like Last Week Tonight with John Oliver. I've watched those shows. And I didn't watch anything like, crazy story wise that I can talk about really. So, so not much to add to that, unfortunately. So, we good? Wrapping up the episode.
I didn't get to go. I was just going to mention
go
that I'm caught up on the DC Titans show, and I am actually enjoying it.
I want to watch that. That's something on my list.
I think that if you want to do the trial, it's probably a good idea to do the trial. I don't know. Is it like any time you can just start it and get like 7 days or whatever?
Yeah.
I'd probably wait until it all is out because it comes out weekly.
That's what I was thinking. I'm surprised that they're even releasing it like that on a streaming service, but I guess binge is a dirty word all of a sudden.
Well, the idea is they don't have the content yet to do a binge. They don't have the content yet to do a binge.
Yeah, I know, but Netflix people want to say
they got a lot on there, but not much new yet. But yeah, it's actually much better than I anticipated it being, and Expanse. The Expanse is such a great show. I think Jim, you'd really like that.
Yeah,
it's interesting you mentioned the Titans thing because somebody I follow on Twitter tweeted today wow, just when we thought we couldn't get a possible worse version of Jason Todd, this show proves me wrong, and it's just damn, how bad could it be?
What's funny though is I think that this show might have been better if the main Robin in this was Jason Todd because he acts like Jason Todd.
That would make more sense. But where was the other bad version of Jason Todd?
I just don't know why Jason Todd's in this show.
I think most
he was in the latest episode.
I heard he was in that one. Yeah, I haven't watched the show yet, but I don't know. It's on my list. It's definitely something I want to watch.
But like I said, it's been much better than I anticipated, and it's actually something I've been following on. So,
yeah. Sorry, did I get? We're good.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, sorry. All right, so I think it's gonna wrap up 421 of the Moviecast. Thanks for tuning in. Write us podcast@icongeek.net. Follow us on Twitter, icongeek. Like us on Facebook, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks for tuning in. Tune in to the Gamecast. Thank you, Stan Lee. Everybody.
Excelsior.
Mike.
Stan's the man.
There it is. All right, that's good. Bye.